Who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No.
Where's the nearest place we can meet him?
In the heart.
Who is Noble Dua?
He is Allah's prophet.
What is a prophet?
A prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh.
What is the duty of a prophet?
To save nations from the wrath of Allah.
Who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America?
Noble Dua.
What year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
1913 AD.
Where?
Newark, New Jersey.
Where was Noble Dua born?
In the state of North Carolina, 1886.
What is his nationality?
Moorish American.
What is your nationality?
Moorish American.
Why are we Moorish American?
Because they are descendants of Allah.
For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America? How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish America? What is our religion?
Islam.
Is that a new or is that the old time religion?
Old time religion.
What kind of a flag is the Moorish?
It is a red flag with 5 points with a star in the center.
What do the 5 points represent?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
How old is our flag?
It is over 10,000 years old.
Which is our holy day?
Friday.
Why?
Because Friday is the day in which man was born in flesh, and it was on Friday that he called out flesh.
Who was Jesus?
He was a prophet of Allah.
Where was he born?
In Bethlehem, Judah, and his house of David.
Who were his father and mother?
Joseph and Mary.
Would you give in brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came?
Some of the great fathers through which Jesus came are Abraham, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, Joseph, and Mary.
Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth?
To save the Israelites from the iron hand portion of Palestine nations of Europe, who God had portion Palestine at that time.
How long has that been?
About 2,000 years ago.
What was the nationality of Ruth?
Ruth was Moabite.
What is the modern name for Moabites?
Moroccans.
Where is the Moroccan Empire?
Northwest America.
What is the modern name for Mexico?
Africa.
What is the title given to our ruler Morocco?
Sultan.
Where do we get the name Jesus?
From the east.
What does the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin.
What is an angel?
An angel is the thought of Allah manifested in human flesh.
What are angels used for?
To carry a message to the four corners of the world to all nations.
What is our prophet to us?
He is an angel of Allah sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of God.
What is the everlasting gospel?
It is the saving power that comes from Allah, the one which is God of God's prophet.
What is the covenant of the great God of Allah?
Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee.
At what age did Jesus begin to teach?
At the age of 12,
Where did he teach?
in the African world,
How long did he teach?
18 years.
What did Jesus say that would make you free?
Truth.
What is truth?
Truth is all.
What is all?
All is Allah.
Can truth change?
Truth cannot change or pass away.
What other name do we give to truth?
Holy Grail.
What have you to say about holy God?
All you say is great, is good, is and more to be. Amen.
At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed?
In the Garden of Eden,
Where is the Garden of Eden?
in the land of Canaan, the city of America.
What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden?
That
What is the name of the first physical man?
his name cannot be used only by exactly the rules of the AC of the MST.
What are the words of AC of the MST?
At the action of the Most High's Temple of America,
Who were Adam and Eve?
the other mothers and fathers of the human family, Asians and Muslims.
Where did they go?
They went to Asia.
What is the modern name given to their children?
Asians.
Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away?
Angels.
What is the modern name for those angels?
Asians.
What is the shade of their skin?
Olive.
Are the Moorish Americans any relation to those angels?
Yes, we all have the same father and mother.
Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve.
Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, beast.
What is the devil sometimes called?
The Lord
How many
self.
cells are there?
2.
Name them.
Higher self and lower self.
What people represent the higher self?
The angels who carry the whole city of America.
What people represent the lower self?
Those who cast out the whole city, those who accept their teaching.
What is the higher self?
Our higher self is the law of virtue, power, justice, mercy, love, and life.
Can the higher self pass away?
No.
Why?
Because it is Allah.
What does the lower self breathe?
Creator, splendor, luminous, murder, self, and everything that harms.
What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met it?
Tell him going to say,
What was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self?
I am going to you for the earth, sweeping among everybody.
As he finished his task of devouring.
Yes.
When was his time declared out?
When he nailed Jesus on the cross.
What are the last words Jesus uttered?
It is finished.
What did he have reference to?
He had reference to it.
Did Jesus say that he would return to conquer him?
Yes.
What is the name of the person into whom Jesus was first reincarnated?
Prophet Muhammad the Conqueror.
Was Satan to be bound in?
Satan was to be bound in part.
When was the head of Satan taken off?
1453 Byzantine.
By whom?
By the Muslims.
Name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors in the Northwest by the European nations in 1774.
Negro, black, colored, Negro.
Negro.
A name given to a woman West Africa by Moors.
What is meant by the word black?
Black or science means that.
What does the word colored mean?
Color means anything that's transparent or ultra.
What does Ethiopia mean?
Ethiopia means something like
Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian?
No.
Why?
because man is made in the image and after the likeness of God.
What title? I'm sorry, pardon. Got into a rhythm. What does the word colored mean?
Color means anything that has been painted, stained, varnished, or dyed.
What does Ethiopia mean?
Ethiopia means something right.
Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian?
No.
Why?
Because man is made in the image and after the likeness of God.
What title does Satan give himself?
God.
Will you define the word white?
White means purity, purity means God, and God means movement.
To whom do we refer to at times as being the great God?
Allah.
Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah?
No, he is a shadow of Allah's self and past.
Who made the devil?
Elohim.
Who is Elohim?
Elohim is the self-created spirit that created and done that Allah is and never want to be.
What is Elohim sometimes called?
The 7 eyes of Allah.
How many days are in the circle?
7 days.
How many days are in a creation?
7 days.
According to science, how many days are in a year?
7 days.
I want you to pick one that you are. I want you to pick one from the questionnaire, and then I want to hear your interpretation of it. In other words, I'm saying, give me one from the questionnaire that we just went over. Then give me your interpretation of the one you have chosen. My brother.
Islam, brother, few months back, 7 days.
Give me that.
It's only 7 days.
Okay, remember what I said there. Give me one from out of the questionnaire, so give me the whole question. And
Okay,
then
I'm saying that from the 7 days on the surface, it's
Okay.
7 days.
okay.
And I'm saying because it's only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's only 7. I haven't done anything over here.
So what does the 7 represent? I mean,
My
just
understanding is-
just understand.
I understand 7 is the divine number.
Define them.
Just like the 7 planes, Elohim, and all that, on 7 different planes, it's all demonic, it's always 7. Great.
Okay. Chastity.
Speaking of the 7 days, I would
Wait,
think,
give me the one. Are you choosing the same one he chose?
well, I just want,
I'm not asking you that. Give me the one that you choose to elaborate on.
I will speak on the 7 days.
Okay. All right. Which
Yeah,
one?
it's gonna be short, brief. Yeah.
No, just tell me which one. You got 3 that speaks about the 7. He spoke about the circle. Which one are you just talking about?
The 7 days. I would like to enhance the 7 days by giving the thought. The 7 days may have started on the Friday.
That's a good thought. But still, just give me yours. See, in other words, what I'm trying to get you to do is to choose one from the questionnaire. One that you feel comfortable in explaining. So that's
All
what I'm.
right.
All
I've been through it enough.
right. Okay, thank you, Lord. My brother.
Oh, then first, born, he came to the Moorish Americans,
Okay,
those who accepted their free national name
okay,
under the prophet number 2 in the Moorish Isles of America.
okay. Folks, stop right there for a minute. State that again. Make the statement that you just made. The prophet came to those who have accepted their free national name. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
Now remember, when he came to us, we didn't even know we had a free national
Okay.
name. Okay? Go ahead.
Okay. Move on. It says he is an angel.
Okay.
An angel, to me, the way I've interpreted an angel is one that has spiritual form, has taken on a spiritual form. And he is conquering his lower self. It is his higher self. And he's dealing with spirit. And our prophet to us is as of the spirit.
Okay.
And he has certain saving power.
Okay.
And to bring us the everlasting gospel.
Okay.
The everlasting gospel is that in which he's teaching us through the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Okay.
And gospel of love. That's the gospel to me. What the
Okay.
prophet is teaching us.
Okay. Okay. Pete, you had some good points. You had some excellent points. You know, but what else does it say about an angel that you can associate with the prophet? What else does it say in your questionnaire about an angel that you can associate it with the prophet? Because that just gives you a little more insight into an angel. So,
Okay, I can move to key 41 where it says, what is the everlasting gospel? That in which the prophet was given came from a higher form of life. And that which the prophet brought us came from love through our ancient fathers.
okay,
And he's bringing us something that we never had before
okay,
in the form of, by way of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
okay, okay, okay. All right. And remember something else about him. He manifested in human flesh. He went to the four corners of the world. He said, "Do what? Come all ye James, and hear the truth." He brought a message. And remember, sometimes it's good to identify those things that are tangible before we ascend. See, we're going to ascend because once you speak about the prophet, you're speaking about the thought of Allah. Once you speak about the thought of Allah, you're going to ascend, providing the fact that you don't feel as though you know it. But that's good, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Somebody, come on, sister. Sister. Come on, my dear.
Yes,
Sister,
but my question, I mean, one that's familiar, that's familiar. Who is Allah?
that's good.
And
That's
say
good.
Allah is the Father of the universe.
That's right.
But my understanding is He's all, He's everything. So
Yes. Yes.
that would be the universe and everything, you know. So that's my
Yeah. That's all I'm asking. That's good.
All right, peace.
That's good. See, the key is what do you see?
Yeah.
We have a tendency to go over the questionnaire. We go over it all the time. So we have a tendency sometimes to think that we've grasped it. But how can you when it's divine? How can you say this is it and stop there with something divine? So yes, who is Allah? No question. That's a good point. Who's next? Come on, Sister Bria.
I have my hand up.
That's okay.
But the one that stands out to me is honor. What is the covenant of the great God of love?
Okay.
Honor thy father and thy mother, that they days may be long upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God of love hath given thee. And when I first came in the temple, let me just say, give you a little background. I was brought up in the church. My father was a deacon.
Uh-huh.
My stepmother was a usher. My mother played the piano. I grew up in the church, but I couldn't grasp it because I could read,
Okay.
right? But when I came in here and I saw this, it made me think, wow, I wish I had this a long time ago. Because I remember how I may have hurt my parents by some of the things that I've done. Right?
Yeah.
And so it allowed me to get back in tune with what I'm supposed to do already, was to honor my mother and father. So I made it my business to see about them all the time, every time.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Brother Morris Hill. Morris Bay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Islam.
I wanted to a question. I had it in my head.
Remember, just one that appeals to you, one that draws you. Let me say it like this. Expound on one that draws you. They will draw you. If you read the questionnaire, it's something that's going to draw you. One of those questions and answers is going to draw you. And that's the one that, you elaborate on. Come on, brother.
What I would like to have
Okay.
what's the next place to meet?
That's a good one.
And the answer is the heart.
That's a good one.
My interpretation of that would be that heart means not physical heart, but man's heart, the heart of man, the spirit of man.
Yeah.
This would be the nearest place in my interpretation to meet heart in the heart.
Yeah.
In man's center. That's it.
Yeah. That's good. Let me ask you this. What must one do with the heart? To me.
One of the things one must do is purify.
That's right. Because that's what the law says. Keep your hearts and minds what? That's good. That's good. 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 Come on, Sister Britt Bay.
Islam. One of the things out the way is because man is made in the image of God.
That's a nice one.
When I think about that, the image.
I can't hear you too well.
When I think about in terms of his creation of me,
Yeah, okay.
representing him.
Okay.
And the likeness would be to me like resemblance. I think in terms of like my characteristics, my traits
Okay.
that resemble his.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Which one resembles his? Which one would you say resembles his?
One of my characteristics.
What are your characteristics?
I would say my affection.
Oh, that's good. Affection. That's good. That is really good. Affection. Give me a number, since that one was so good. Give me a number.
I'm not always one to help.
Okay. One to help. Good service. Yeah, compassion. That's good. That's nice and simple. That's nice and simple. Come on, Sister Delia.
This one, my greatest thing is probably tough. I like, right now, what's been drawn to me is question number 15.
Okay.
For what purpose was More Science Temple of America founded?
Okay.
And the answer for the uplifting of all humanity. And I'm looking at how important this question and answer is right now because of what's going on in the world.
I hear you.
And
I hear you.
our duty to instill these lessons in our everyday life, learn them, and try to set them out in the world.
I hear you.
Because right now, we are in need to assist our mankind.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause mankind is not assisting themselves. You know, they are showing so much of the lower self that we're going to get caught up with it if we don't instill these lessons within us.
Yeah.
You know, so to me right now, that is so important to really manifest, but we have to come together as a unit. learn how to love ourselves and love each other, then we can show love to the world. Please.
What is the element that is required to be uplifted?
Understanding self, understanding our lower self.
Okay.
But we got to accept that we have a lower self
Okay.
and then try to understand it and figure out how to defeat it.
Okay. Okay.
I think a lot of people don't see themselves having a lower self. A lot of them think what they're doing is right.
Yeah.
You know? So that illusion is outweighing
Reality. Yeah. The illusion is outweighing the reality. Why do you think the illusion has the power or has the supposed power to outweigh
That's
reality?
that slave mentality that we've been up under for so many years.
Okay. Okay. What else?
Lack of trust,
Okay. Yeah.
lack of love,
Yeah.
lack of understanding,
Okay.
lack of a lot of things that's, you know, part of the hindsight.
Okay. Okay. How about also adding this? The appearance. Because the things you see,
Yes.
things you see are easily distractions. Those things that you see can take you away from you. Yet make you think that that's the way it is.
We've been taught.
It doesn't matter. Have you accepted? You can be taught, but do you accept? We're being taught now, but do we accept?
Right.
We accepted their teachings. Now you've accepted a certain collage of teachings. Have you given them back? Because truth and falsehood can't occupy the same space at the same time. So the question the question one should ask himself, have I accepted the instructions that assist me to see the one from the other? And then you gotta ask yourself the question, do I really want to see it? You gotta ask yourself if you really want to see it, because see, there is going to be a change of attitude if you really start to see. And suppose once you start to see, you find out, or you say to yourself, I really wish I hadn't seen that. Because now the conflict becomes even more intense. Because you know. See, at first we didn't know. We can get through this thing because we don't know. Just stay in mental slavery because we don't know. But once you grab hold to the gospel cloud and you start to know, the conflict becomes even more intense. So sometimes you may not want to know. And that's why the prophet is raised. That's how he's helping us to be uplifted, because he's getting us to do what? What do you think? Think. And therefore, you must think what?
Your condition's gonna be better.
You must think your condition can be better. That is the uplifting of man. You must get man to think his condition can be better. You must think your condition can be better for you to benefit from the program. But better in your condition in what way? What way are we talking about bettering our condition? What way are we talking about bettering our condition?
Spiritually?
Which one? Oh, okay, Sister McGee back. You give me some false information. Well, it ain't strange. It ain't strange. Anyway, Sister McGee back.
Well, I was just gonna find out, the one I chose was, what is the devil sometimes called?
Okay.
And I chose that because being in the temple helped me realize that I do have two selves.
That's right.
And understanding the fact that sometimes my thought can be obscured.
That's
And
right.
being humble enough to accept someone trying to tell me, or sometimes my thoughts trying to tell me, hey, you're doing something wrong, you need to rethink that.
Yeah. That's good. That's good insight. What was you gonna say, Sister McGee Bay? Yeah, Sister A.
The one that stuck out to me was, what does the word color mean?
Why? Why did that stick out? Why do you think that story stuck out?
Because I guess for me, when you're like taught in class and stuff about these things that was given to us, we didn't really give it a second thought. I didn't give it a second thought until I came in here.
Yeah.
When it's given to you, sometimes you don't really think about what you're actually saying and accepting inside. So
Yeah.
like I said, black means death. So if I'm saying like I'm black, it's like an energy that's being passed into me by saying that and accepting that type of thinking. And
You said it's like an energy that's doing what?
passed into me by saying it.
Yeah.
So it's a certain mindset that comes attached with that.
Yeah. That's good. That's really good. That's good. I like what y'all saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Brother Thompson Field.
Just the idea of I thought.
She stole your thought in the temple? Or she shared your thought?
Literally, right?
Okay.
I just want to, I was listening to you the other day, right? On the Zoom, right? A while after the same thing, when I entered, as far as the open door, I'm talking to my sister.
Yeah.
But like I said, well, I'm gonna stick to the question, as far as 17,
Yeah.
what is our religion? Islamism. And I just gotta study more, man, because that lower self will grab you, and you might say something that you regret, or just start. I mean, it's loud talk. I mean, over talk someone.
Yeah.
It's a sin. I over talk someone. I believe in my heart there's a sin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're supposed to hear
Patience.
someone.
That's right.
You know, I mean, because this is my older sister, right?
Right.
And she thinks she's older, so she know more than me.
Right.
You know,
And you think you know more than her?
huh?
Do you think you know more than her?
No. I said, no, she used to beat me when I was small.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You got feelings too, don't you? You got feelings about that.
Yeah, she don't give me a chance not to really emphasize my thoughts.
Yeah.
She'd be like, boom,
Yeah.
you my little brother, you know,
Yeah.
and she believes she's supposed to be heard more
Right.
than me.
Right.
So I entered that door instead of being humble,
Right.
you know, and just listen. I made a few reparation to call and say I got to listen more and I'll call you more.
Praise the Lord.
Because she want to fight me if I don't call her.
Right. Right.
Peace. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Islam, mine was in accord with Robert Thompson. You know, I had that thought about what is our religion.
Yeah.
And I know I was going through some trials and tribulations like we all go through before I heard about the North Side took over America. And I went to a place and I read where it asked if you think your conditions could be better, join the North Side took over America.
Yes,
And it said some other things. But one of the things that led me through there, Allah spoke to my mother. My mother told me, you better get some religion in your life. Because I see the way that you are looking, and you're going to wind up, and she named some certain things. And I found out, I was allowed to find out after a number of years, that religion is a way of life. So my mother, who knows me, she knows that the way of life that I was living wasn't the way that I was supposed to be living. And so once I came in, was allowed to join the Moorish Scientific of America, I found out that Islam being a particular way of life, I need to learn to live a particular way of life with some principles of action over myself. So that's the one that I identified with, along with some others. But that was one of the things that stick with me a lot.
Sister Johnson.
Islam. For me, how did the Prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves.
Yeah.
And how that connected to me is before coming into the Moorish Temple of America, even being here, you can get caught up in the world.
Yeah.
And what the world teaches you
Yeah.
becomes ingrained in you.
Yeah.
And then you start becoming that, but it's not your true self. So coming to the Moorish Temple of America, you start to learn who you really are.
Yes.
And that you have all the attributes of Allah. And that Prophet is teaching you that we are a principled people.
That's right.
And that we can live our life accordingly and be happy.
That's right. Come on, Brother D,
Islam, the one that sticks out to me is 41. What is the everlasting gospel?
Okay.
It says it is the saving power. It is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about preserving. You know, it makes me think about how it traveled, how that thought traveled.
Okay.
And how it's still here.
Okay.
And by Allah's will, I was able to partake in that thought, and it's been preserved, and it just makes me think about some of the great fathers, through which you know that how it travels, how the thought travels, and it just makes me think about how blessed I am for that.
Yeah.
Praise.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What do you think this whole exercise is for? Not, I mean, you can, if you want to jump in and answer. Why do you think that we're having this exercise?
Get us to think.
Huh? Self-examination. Yeah. What else? What would you want to say?
To get us to think.
To get you to think. About what?
How we can save ourselves.
That's right.
Good.
That's right.
Good.
How we can save ourselves from what?
The wrath of Allah.
That's the truth.
Good. Good. Good.
Ourselves.
Save ourselves from
Ourselves.
ourselves.
Good.
Right. How are we going to save ourselves from ourselves? You know how difficult a fight that is? You know how difficult it is to fight yourself when you're just beginning to learn to know yourself. If you really understand what it takes to be able to get in the ring with yourself, that part of you that knows your every move, every time you throw a punch, he counter punches. He knows how you think, what you think about, and what appeals to your nature. You have to learn how to fight that in you. And sometimes it looks like you may have an upper hand. But just when you think you've turned the corner, he finds a weak spot. And then you find out, wow, I'm not where I thought I was. And that can be devastating.
Yeah.
Some people don't make it back from that. Some people give up. That's why the prophet is calling for strong men and women. You got to be strong. You got to be humble. You got to take something. You got to learn to control your tongue. And you must have a desire that prompts you to think not no easy task. Come on, Lord.
You know, it was a blessing coming to Moore Science Temple. It took me many years to come within my steps and find out that it takes education to know about the Moore Science Temple. Because the prophet wants you to have education. Because words in this Quran have spirits. And these spirits are telling you in so many ways that you have to think. And the prophet said if you can't think for yourself, you can't save yourself. You'll fall in line with the unthinkable. But at the same time, when people started about 10,000 years ago, the secret was put away from us because we didn't think. So now it's the time for me to think, as the lady said about the world. My creation is, my world of creation was already made within me. So whatever the world is creation of what's going on in the world, it was already created. So what I have to do is concentrate. What the Bible can teach me about, there's two elements in me. Elements.
Okay, all right.
And these elements are spirits, Mother.
Okay.
And that's what's keeping me. That's what's saving me.
Okay.
If it wasn't for him educating me about these two spirits, I can use them.
Okay, Mom.
But I want to.
All right.
It's in the use mode.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good.
Peace, Mother.
Peace. That's good. That's good. I can hear something in there.
That's a good thing he did for me.
Okay. Okay. Come on.
So I just want to speak on the question that you're speaking on, and what you had. I'll speak to man, through man. So when we get the opinions of others, we can actually, and it is of truth.
Yeah.
Allah is actually speaking to that person, so you get the interpretation of what Allah has said through someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember, Allah speaks to man by voice of man. Voice. And for you to recognize him when he speaks, you must know what? The sound. Because it's the sound. It's the sound before the word. That's why he says, my sheep know sound. See, it's a sound. You respond to the sound. See, he puts this, the questionnaire is full of what we like to refer to as science. And there is a science of sound. And one must study the science of sound so that they can recognize the sound of his voice. Remember, there is a semblance of truth, but it doesn't have the sound. Remember that. He can make his words in the semblance of truth.
Yes.
Well, how can I tell the difference? The sound. Saying, you can hear the saying, he can be called or he can repeat. Didn't he say, for did not David say? Well, what was that was absent? The sound. See, there's a connection with the sound of his voice. Come on now.
Islam, did he say if those who fail to hear my voice
are lost? Yeah, no. Yeah. It's easy. Come on, Brother Mars. Mars.
Speak about sound, right?
Yeah, Mars. Yeah, come on.
And I was just thinking that when you speak about sound, oftentimes we probably say, but deeper, a little deeper, see vibration.
Yeah.
Within the sound.
Yeah. Well, there is a vibration within the sound. You see, the sound causes a vibration. That's why when you read when someone, you ever had a conversation with a person, and a person will say, and you're talking about what the prophet say, and then they'll say, and the prophet say, and then they go on to say what they say he says, but it don't sound like him. That don't sound like what the prophet said. Come on, Brother Smith, back.
That makes me think of myself and probably others, when we heard the sound,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I didn't even think the sound could catch me.
yeah,
I heard the sound
yeah,
of
yeah.
the voice.
yeah,
So when we going out trying to get a word of the prophet to somebody else that's
Yeah.
not in the temple,
yeah, yeah,
it might hear the sound, it might not.
yeah,
Like you said, it depends on the vibration.
yeah. Well, it depends on the person that's giving it. Remember, speak in sincerity. You will hear with instruction. Sometimes we want to speak, but we want to speak. And we don't have the sound because we have not been given the authority to speak. Because we're speaking from a selfish motive. Come on, brother. Crawford. You got to speak up, Mark.
Just want to add to what Brother Smith made comment.
Yes.
You won't hear the sound if you're not a sheep.
That's right. If you not remember the flock. That's
You
right.
got to be a sheep.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Come on, man.
You know, something I was thinking about, Brother Lee, I looked at this week. Men vibrate in unison.
To help with sing. That's right.
Help the birds sing.
That's right.
And in that vibration, there's a sound.
That's a sound, Mo.
See, so if we come together and vibrate in unison,
Yes.
there's a sound to that.
Yes.
And that's why they sing,
Yes.
because it's a harmony,
That's right.
it's a rhythm.
That's right.
And you said something that really got my attention was, our intent plays a major
Of
part
course it
on
does.
what we put out.
Yes.
See, we get massive,
Yes.
but what's in our heart and what our intent is has a lot to do with whether the sound gonna come out.
Yes. Yes.
If it's self-promotion,
Yes.
because there's only one way to do this,
Yes.
and that is for the uplifting,
Yes.
the aid and assistance.
Yes.
It's not self-promotion.
That's right. That's right.
So you said something being humble,
That's right.
and all that plays a part in it, and being able to receive so we can
Yeah.
be used as a vehicle.
Yes. 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 Brother Bunchback.
Yes, sir. It's no more. Praise God, honor to the prophet, honor to everything that's
Chair.
cherry.
Yeah.
Give honor to. More, I was saying, as the vision decline, sounds become an identity.
Maybe more. Could you speak up a little more? I mean, because I can't really hear you. Okay.
I was saying, as your vision declines,
Okay.
sounds become an identity.
Yeah.
Because with me now, because I would ask the brother, is that you?
Yeah.
And because of his sound, I'm recognizing his sound. Then he will respond,
Yeah.
yes. I'm saying, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And everything is settled.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Now remember, we're talking about two different sounds. I understand we're talking about, yeah, but I understand what you're saying, yeah. But we're talking about two different sounds. You know, you have an inner sound and you have an outer sound. Remember, one is a reflection. The outer sound is what Brother Bunchback is speaking about. It's the physical. It deals with the out. But the sound of the prophet's voice is an inner sound. See, I can read from this Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America with the intent to influence you, but I may not be doing it sincerely. So even though the words is divine, they come from divine instructions, if I'm not saying it sincerely, you don't hear the sound. So it really don't move you. It don't cause no stirring in you. See, the sound you're supposed to get, when you hear the sound of the prophet's voice, you know how it feels. Those who have experienced it, you know it's right. Oh yeah, that's right. So it's the sound, the inner sound that we want to make sure that we give our attention to. Yes, it's the outer sound, but the outer sound can be very misleading. Yeah. See, that symbols of truth can become very persuasive.
It's already deceiving.
It's all because look, it's appealing to what? The outside, the physical, the appetite. That's right. Come on, Brother William.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because
when I first joined the Motor Center Temple of America, I came in under the pretense of a sound that I heard from the brothers. But my intent was to use what I heard for another reason. You see, and if we talking here, I'm looking back, I say, wow, you know, sound is very powerful.
Yeah, Mom.
But it's what you do with that sound.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. Okay. Come on.
Y'all talk about some brothers standing over here.
Yeah.
I experienced, I got a brother 3 years younger than me, and I got one 3 years older. And the one that's 3 years younger than me, we was talking overnight. And we was talking about medical. He retired from the federal government and all that. So, just something I said, he asked, I told him, I said, I think you stubborn, man, and stiff-necked. You know, because he's younger than me. But I didn't want to be like I was with him. And he on the phone. So I'm thinking, how can I get back? For us, you know, to keep things in harmony where it's been. But I don't want to overexert myself. I don't think I said anything wrong.
Well, you already limited yourself.
You already limited yourself.
You know, sometimes you gotta get, hey, you gotta bite that bullet.
Yeah.
Sometimes even when you don't believe that you.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to bring about peace, there's no level which you should not be willing to bring about peace and harmony. You know? Yeah, Mom. And this is the time you really may need it. Yeah, Mom. Come on, Brother Crawford.
For me, the sound of the prophet, it should stir up some holy zeal.
Okay.
You know what I mean, Mom?
Okay. It should cause something to take.
Yeah. Well, that's what you could kind of, well, I can kind of identify that it's the sound of the prophet. If I'm getting some holy zeal.
Yeah. Okay, Sister Delia.
Back to my thought.
He took something. Okay, an example?
No, but. Yes, next thoughts. No, but I was thinking about that, about the sound. You know, if we are in tune with Allah and the Prophet, the sound should stir up that spirit, that soul within you, if you're in tune. You know, because I can feel it sometimes. You know, you get the little tingle and stuff, and you kind of recognize that. You know, okay, this is in the Prophet. So, that be tuned.
But let me ask a question. We gotta go here. But listen, you hear Allah speak to you, right? Those who have heard or had the experience, you hear Allah speak to you. Now, while He's speaking, you be saying, "Man, this is Allah. I know this is Allah." And after He gives you instructions or He helps to redirect the way you're thinking, and then that subsides, and then your doubt arises. The question is what you really heard is what you really think you heard. Now for the moment that you and Allah were together, you accept, I know it's Allah. But as soon as that subsides, your doubt causes you to question if it was really Allah or not. But that's the conflict. But see, that's the conflict. While I'm speaking, we're saying, man, I know if I do this, I'm. But once that subsides, the lower self has its shadow. And it causes the doubt that dwells within us to rise. So it's all. Let's go to the book. We're going to go to chapter 4. This is a very sensitive topic because we're talking about what? Death. talking about death, we are talking about a very sensitive topic. Because we have been taught about death by those who are earthly. We have been taught an earthly concept about death. And so now here comes a different approach, or here comes a different understanding about death. But that concept or those teachings that we have been taught about death is ingrained in us. It's ingrained in us. It's so deeply ingrained in us that we fear it. Fear it. And anything we fear, we become a slave to. So here comes a divine prophet, a thought of Almighty God, to give us another what about death?
Way of looking at it.
A way of looking at it. That's right. That's right. Another concept. But guess what? He's not saying you got to change. Because the choice is yours. But here's something else that you need to examine. Because remember, what you have been taught thus far is their teachings. So we're going to go, come on, yeah.
In Islam, sir, you know, under their teachers, I fear death more than I fear Allah.
Yeah, no.
The prophet has told me to fear Allah
More than, that's right. Because that's wrong. They have taught. Remember, you would be executed if you were a Muslim in certain societies. So we're going to chapter 4. We're talking about death. Death and burial of Elizabeth. Matheno's lessons, the ministry. Listen, the ministry of death. Who was Elizabeth?
Mother John.
Mother John. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Now here's a minister that's teaching us about the ministry of death. Do you understand what we are being made privy to? Do you really, comprehend what we are being made privy to? Something to think about. What does it feel like to be chosen to be taught about death?
We're going to sneak the season on. Okay.
Okay. I like it when you stick to your stuff. Right. It is talking about sneak the seeds. But the most important thing in this chapter that we're going to learn is that death is no what? Enemy. Because we fear the enemy. We have to change the way we look at death. Because he's not what he is not necessarily what we have been taught he is, or it is. Okay, it says that when John was 12 years old, his mother died. And neighbors laid her what? Her body. Didn't say he laid the mother. The neighbors laid the body. Form. Because we are learning that man, what? Cannot die. It's not the body. or the soul, but he is a what? A spirit, and a part of what? Allah. So we are not talking about Elizabeth as the spirit dying. We're talking about what? The body. Why is the body able to die? It has a what? A beginning, and it has a what? An end. Meaning there is time associated with the body. The body has a time to function. And after it has reached this time of function, it does what? It dies. That's what it is. It disintegrates because that's death. Disintegration. But the spirit can't die. It's totally impossible for the spirit to die. We, not knowing this, become attached to the body of our loved ones when they pass on. So what do? We pay thousands and thousands of dollars to put them in a casket, put them in the ground, and go and visit them. Laying flowers on their grave because we are acknowledging the body. But they're not there. Krishna is not there. She's not there. He's not there. The only thing there is a body, and after this integration process is taking place, all you got laying in that casket is a bunch of bones. Come on.
And more, see, if the body didn't die, then we wouldn't be able to take on another spirit, the form of the spirit.
No, we're not going to take on another form. See, we are spirit. We are spirit. But the body releases us so that we can reincarnate, to return so that we can complete our tasks here on earth. The body holds the spirit captive, earthbound. And therefore, if you're earthbound, you cannot come back. You cannot return to take care of your business. And until you take care of your business, you must return. After the body reaches a certain point, release you. Go ahead, and you got to go to the next. You got to go to the next education period. Get yourself some rest. Return and complete your job. That's why you don't escape. See, we can do all the dirt we want and think that death is going to shield us from examination, but that's an impossibility.
Those that return sounds like when we see children and we say they've been here before.
Of course. That's a way of identifying. But remember, each time we see a baby, that's just a returning, like you say, spirit. It's not a brand new spirit. Because the spirit that has been there before, it can't die. It has to come back. When it comes back, it's the spirit that never dies. And they work out their life cycles. Some come back and happy. I've read where they see when we come back to earth, we choose the condition that's most appropriate, that serves the purpose of us attending to those weaknesses that we did not take care of when we were here before. So we choose a condition so that we can address that. We choose a condition. And when we return, we hopefully take care of those things that we have, that we're able to take care of. But what takes place, I have learned this, is that we have done so much, that it takes more than one reincarnation to come back. So we come back, and we come back until we have taken care of our business. That's why it's important that you understand something. Whatever you create now, and you pass, you must come back into your creation. That's right. Because you must undo what you've done. You must address it. Come on,
God, I just have a question, so now, so we do reincarnate.
Yeah.
And my question is, do we go to the plane of soul and then come back?
We go to a place of rest.
All right. This is better.
That we could say that's the plane of soul, but I would not, I don't feel really comfortable saying that right now.
Yeah.
I read where that could perhaps be true,
Yeah.
but I don't feel comfortable saying it right now, so I will, but it does identify that we go to a place of rest
Yeah.
before we return.
Yeah, because it's just something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and talking over with other Lords, you know.
Yeah.
Just when I got more death, then do I, you know, like I said, God will return the soul. I do know we definitely reincarnate.
Right.
Right. But that's the question that I've been thinking about for a long time.
Right.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
But you know what, babe, I tell you something, when you think about it like this too now. If the spirit plane is a plane that vibrates faster than the soul plane, can I really get rest on the soul plane if I'm a spirit?
Mm.
Because I've talked with other Lords, you know, over years about this, and they you know, their understanding is that we do go to the plane of soul. But, you know, it's just still what I understand.
Yeah, that's yeah. But you know, you think too, because you say, what the prophet say, you know, the man of his knowledge transcendeth by conception.
Yeah.
So we don't really know.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't want to just say definitely. You know. Okay, wait, Brother Bunchback, Brother Governor and Grand Chief. Come on, Brother Bunchback.
Yes, sir. I'm going with the science mode, like the prophet said that Allah created the universe for a reason.
Right.
So we got the human body on Earth.
Right.
So the soul body may be on one of the other planets.
It may be, Mom.
Yeah.
It may be.
So the universe is there for a reason.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I'm optimistic.
I hear you, Mo. Come on, Brother Harrison.
One thing very good I'm learning is so much about this whole situation. And what I'm learning is I have to take my time because I got so many different thoughts.
Yeah.
I got their teachings in me.
Yep.
And then I got the divine instruction that I'm receiving.
Yeah.
And I gotta be careful because I don't want to mix it.
Right.
See, because the fear, my fear may prevent me from seeing. You know, it remains strange. He said the thought of affliction will be deeper than the affliction itself.
Yeah.
See, you know what I mean? And so, I'm glad you picked this chapter because it's a chapter that I think as a Muslim, we all have to come to some point of acceptance. Now, how we do that, it comes to based on what we're willing to accept it. But I think, like you said, and I just was listening, I try to take my time with that. Because there's a lot in here. And you know, the thing that gets me to it, I'm gonna let it go, brother. There's a holy ministry in the Bible.
Yeah, it is.
See, I never knew that. There's a holy ministry in this Bible. Now, what that means, or how that, but he says that. And I mean, it's something that jumped out to me. You know? Because, you know, and that's when you go through the process, but it's a holy ministry in the Bible. So I think it's a good chapter because we all gonna experience it. And how we experience it is based on how we accept what the prophet brought us. At this particular time.
From Grand Chief?
It's on.
It's not.
Praise be to Allah and honor to the Prophet of God. You know, listening to the conversation, I think, you know, what's always safe for us is to just remember, try to remember some of the things that are in the Koran.
That's right.
Now, where we go when we first leave this body, we do know this part, that the soul region does have boundaries.
Yeah.
That's right. Talks about boundaries.
That's right.
So, well, we may or may not dwell that right away.
Right.
There are some boundaries.
That's right. That's right.
One of the other things things that we want to remember too, and it's going to speak to it in this chapter, is that people will hold people. See, he's going to teach us in this chapter that you have to let them go.
Yeah.
You have to let the departed soul be released.
Yeah.
I'm using my terminology saying release. But we are learning that you have to let those souls be released because people want to keep them based on their relationships and kinships and how they, love them or whatever, whether they're someone of kin to you or someone that you care about a lot. But John is being taught that he got to let his money go.
Yeah.
So, and I've read in some other places that we may hold people so that they cannot move on. Yes, move on. That's the best way to put it. So, it's a lot to learn in this chapter.
It is. I tell you something, it's even, I mean, just be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in itself is, it's really something. Being able just to even talk about death from another point of view.
If I could add just one other point, you made reference to when you first started out, understanding.
Yeah.
And I think what's important for us to remember, even though we may have accepted teaching, we may have accepted concepts, but understanding comes from out.
That's right.
So we are gaining the understanding of that.
Yeah.
Because these holy divine teachers come from out.
Yes.
Whatever we've been taught before, they really not understanding. They just concepts or teachings that come from man.
Yes.
Or other areas that we may have gotten from within ourselves, but the understanding comes from out.
That's right.
I just want to say that part of it.
That's right.
If I make a need one word, it's a friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that word.
Yeah. 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 Come on.
Like Jesus right here in chapter 18, chapter 18, 28. It said, now Jesus did not sleep within the tomb.
Right.
The body, that's verse 15.
Right.
The body is manifest of the soul, but the soul is without its manifestation.
Right.
And in the realms of the soul, unmanifest, the Lord went and taught. And he opened up the prison door and set the prisoners free.
Right.
So it's talking about another plane there.
But remember.
But the body over there.
Okay. Yes. But remember, you just in the realm. The realm. That's something else you think about. Okay. Look, when John was 12 years old, his mother died, and neighbors laid her body in a tomb among her kindred in the Hebron burying ground, and near to Zacharias' tomb. Quickly, who was Zacharias?
Father John.
Okay. And John was deeply grieved. He wept. Matheno said, "It is not well to weep because of death. Death is no enemy of man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on what?
Smooth seas.
So it may sail on smoother seas. No language can describe a mother's worth, and yours was tried and true. But she was not called hence until her tasks were what? Done. So we leave when what happens? Our tasks are done. The cause of death are always, not sometimes. The cause of death are always for the best. For we are solving problems there as well as here. And one is sure to find himself where he can solve what? His problems best. That is something. Come on.
Is that directed to the Moorish Americans or is that directed to AGAS?
That's directed to mankind.
How can it be directed to mankind if mankind is not in the court?
If I can't, I can't get you to see what you can't see right now. I mean, you just have to work with the concept that you have until perhaps let you see some of those. And I think it's going to take time to try to convince or to go into it in depth because we'll start the whole class. Come on, brother.
It's not, sir. You know that last verse, divine instruction you read.
Yes.
It's very instrumental.
Yes.
To me and my mom and father. My mom's and father passed.
Yeah.
That was really helped me got through that.
That's right.
And last
Yeah.
verse in divine instruction.
Yeah.
Very instrumental.
Yeah. Remember, Mo, when we are speaking when we're in the Koran, we're talking about man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
We're talking about man.
That's right. Oh, man.
Come on, brother. Take
This
this
is to add to your point, and this is stated in the Koran. Listen, Adam and Eve are the mothers and fathers of the human family. AGAS and their mom.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Islam. And one of the things we keep in mind is these are secret lessons that we are studying now, and they've been held back from the outside world. So this is dealing with man, as was said before. A lot don't know about these lessons because they are secrets and they kept back from others.
So we got to remember Allah is God for everyone.
Yes.
Not just the Asiatics, not just the Muslims, but for everyone, for mankind and stuff. Prophet is prophet for all, for everyone, but he came to us particularly because we need to be woken up.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Islam, Lord. Islam. I'd like to thank our grand chief moderator, Brother Man and Brother R. Jones Bay, for very enlightening Sunday school. And at this time, I'll call for Grand Governor of the District of Columbia, Brother H. Harris Bay, to read from our divine warning. And while the warning is being read, please give it undivided attention. And please cease all movement.
First, I give praise to Allah and the Prophet, those who are leading. I give honor to each and every one of you. I give honor to everything Prophet Noble Ali has done for the uplifting of fallen humanity. Prophet wants all models and governors ordered to read proclamation in each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end on radical, agitating speeches while at work in their homes or on the street. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards to Europeans and causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Morris movement will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card, button, cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of prophet Noble Ali. Peace.
Peace.
Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.